good to see everybody again. So I think I've seen everybody once or twice, but it's been a little bit crazy couple weeks, but appreciate everybody being here, and it was an exciting time. So let's get to some questions, and I can help you out however I can.
Garrett.
Yeah, Joe, obviously you've been busy since taking the job. Have you had some time to reflect at all on your journey to becoming an FBS head coach?
Not really. It's been wild. You know, we got here and just getting to meet the players and doing all the meetings. You know, I was able to personally meet with everybody, which was great before I left. And then obviously the staffing was a big piece of it. Getting through that, and then the road started, and that's been the craziest part, which has been also the best part. But just getting out and meeting people in the state and locally and doing that, it's been great. So no, I haven't really. Sometimes I'll sit in my office and kind of reflect and look out my window at the stadium and just be like, wow, we're here. But it's been a lot of work. It's just been, but it's been awesome. I got a great staff and excited about it.
How did your staff come together? How many of them do you know, and how many of them just kind of apply?
Yeah, no, it's all about connections, I think. You know, certainly, especially on the defensive side of things, I think, you know, those connections that I have and those relationships have been why those guys are ending up here. Certainly, there's so much interest that you got to investigate everything, and you got to kind of go through, because there was a lot of great names, and that's what's great about, you know, being here. And then certainly, you know, offensively, a lot of those guys I might have went against, competed against. I know what they do. It's good stuff, but those are also relationships that, you know, that I've developed over the years. And certainly, if someone was of interest that I didn't really know, you know, you do your calls and you find out. So I'm proud of the way we processed it. It wasn't too fast, wasn't too slow, and we did a thorough interview process for everybody, and we got the people that we believe fit best here.
With your OC, did that come from this time at Northwestern, that when you played against them at Rutgers? And how much of the offense is going to be his? How much of it's going to be yours? How much, you know, how does that work out?
Yeah, Mike's you know, Bergen County guy like I am. We grew up kind of in the same area, and then obviously his relationship between me and him is just going against each other really to start, and then, you know, common people know everybody, and we knew each other, and that's how we got connected. And then, you know, listen, Mike's an experienced coordinator, not only in the NFL and the Power Four, but you know, in this league, and he's been doing it for a long time. So it's you know, when you hire people, you hire them because you trust them, and it's going to be his show to run. And you know, we're already working great together, and I'm excited about what he's going to bring, and just the organization and the you know, the system that he's going to do here.
I feel like a common question asked to coaches are what are qualities you look for in a player? What are qualities that you look for in a coach when you're looking to fill out your staff? Yeah,
the first thing is you should never be a better football coach than you are a person. So great people is where it starts for me, whether you're a player or whether you're a coach. You know, something that's important for me. What type of man are you? Family man, good husband, good father, and if you don't have kids, you know, what kind of person are you? You know, in that part of your life. So that's where it starts for me, and usually the first initial, you know, phone call or Zoom or whatever that is, that's really what I want to accomplish. It's just kind of like see who you are, and certainly with that, before that first interaction happens, you know, you've talked to a bunch of people. So I would say it starts there. Certainly, if you're coming across my desk at this level, you know X's and O's. So the next part is just how you teach. You know, that's what I went to school for. You know, is to be a teacher. That's what coaching is. So understanding that players learn in different ways, visual, they got to hear things, they got to see things, they got to write it. So all those things on how they teach was a big part. So I think about who you are and how you teach are the two most important things that we kind of look for.
Kind of along those lines, talking about players, when you're recruiting, like what's kind of your philosophy in terms of like traits, what's most important to you, and how may that be different when you're recruiting a high school kid versus a portal guy?
Yeah, I think physically it comes down to the film and then obviously measurements that you're able to get. I think something that we need to improve here is our measurements and how we look. You know, I think that's just something that we've improved on. You know, again, me coming from where I came from, that's what it's all about. I mean, you can't get your foot in the door unless you're a certain height and weight, right? Because the people you go against are a certain height and weight. So that's something that we really strive for in terms of the physical aspect of it. Certainly, the film evaluation comes down to itself and what we do there. And then again, back to the other question, it's just about getting around them. Like, I want to be around the families. That's something that I think we've done a really good job with over this past month and a half, whatever it's been, is on these visits. Like, just because you visit doesn't mean you're coming to UMass. Like, this is a mutual agreement, right? You have to want to be here. We have to, want you here, and it's got to be a genuine decision. And that's really what we tried to work on here over this first, month and a half.
Signed 2 quarterbacks out of the portal. What do you like about Brandon and Grant?
Yeah, I think experience is the first thing. And again, with Coach Bajaki and what he's going to do, I think both guys have played a lot of football. Both guys have a skill set that fits what we're going to do. And I think the number one thing is we've just created a whole lot of competition. So that brings out the best in everybody in your professional life, and you're trying to be a quarterback, trying to be an lineman. But I just think they fit for what we want to do. And now it's going to be about, each one of them and their paths on how we're going to develop and how we're going to run the system. And that's what I'm the most excited about, is just, how they're going to compete with each other. And also, AJ and all the other guys that are on our roster right now. There's a lot of good, talented guys on our roster. So we wanted to make every room as competitive as we could. And that's the goal, because come now, there's not going to be any more hiding anymore. We're going to go out and see who gets it done. And that's going to be at every position.
Are you watching tape of last year, or is last year, do you put that in a drawer and everybody, and it just starts different for you?
No, every position coach and myself has watched tape. Don't care about the scheme, don't care about any of that. But certainly you're trying to get an evaluation of where your position's at. And that's how we kind of targeted where we went to over the last month and a half. And certainly that'll continue to go throughout the spring. And again, like, I haven't even seen one guy do a live workout. Not one. So it's been all film. They're just getting back. So some guys have been in the weight room with Coach Green and those kinds of things. But that'll be fun over the month of February to see them run around, because, your eyes never really lie. So I can't wait to get around them and see them actually doing some live workouts.
When it comes to the spring, have the players given you any input as to what the regime is usually like, and what are you looking to change from that, if anything?
Yeah, I've been asking some questions just about how it normally goes, but we're going to do things the way that we see fit, and I think that's like anything. We're new, and we got a lot of new coaches, a lot of new players, so we're going to have a pretty well-structured operation here between lifting and what we're allowed to do with all the hours and all the rules on that. So we're putting that together, we're piecing it together. One of the challenges, obviously, is a lot of these guys are signed up for classes, and we got to figure that out. I got to navigate that world, make sure that we're doing the right things there, which we will. And so it's been a little wild. We're still going through it, but I think, yeah, certainly taking input. But then at the end of the day, just being in the spots that I've been in and having success at the spots that I've been, we're going to do it a certain way, because I believe that's what's best for the program moving forward.
Is there a certain position group you'd like to strengthen come springtime, or do you feel good about where the roster's at right now?
I'd love to tell you that after I see him run around a little bit, but I think throughout the 26 editions that we have, I think we've done that. And now it's about just fine-tuning exactly what we need. Like, we'll know coming out of spring exactly what we need. And that's the best part. And I think certainly with the new rule of rosters having to go to 105, this spring portal window is going to be pretty wild. I think it's going to be different. So, but we'll have to see that when it comes about. But I think we've done a good job identifying off of the tape what we probably needed. And I think one of the biggest things was just depth at some positions. So I think we've done that, and being able to practice and being able to get out there and have competitive practices will allow us to kind of evaluate that moving forward.
Just out of curiosity, what is the calendar for that spring transfer portal opening, and do you have any idea what your spring schedule is going to be like, when you're going to start practice, and all that?
Yeah, I think we're finalizing that. We're gonna get it out soon. We'll start somewhere around spring break, before or after, and then we'll probably run through the middle of April. We'll be on a 3 practice a week kind of type system. Day off in between, very standard. And again, just getting to work with those guys for the first time and trying to figure out what's best, for that. And then obviously with the portal, I believe it's sometime in April 16th, something like that, somewhere around there. I think it's the middle of April that it'll start to open up. And,
so it'll be interesting with how that works, but we'll probably be just about finishing right when that opens, if I have that date right.
In terms of like geography when it comes to recruiting, obviously you'll go anywhere, you've already proven that, but a couple states like New Jersey, how important is New Jersey? And in Massachusetts, have you noticed an uptick in the high school talent in this area since when you're here?
Yeah, I never had New England as my specific area in terms of a recruiting coach, but certainly being the head coach at Maine, having those players come out of there, and something I said I was really proud of. I have 3 ex-players that we hired, some team captains for us on that Maine team. That was really good, and for me to be able to give back and do that for them after they, ran through some walls for us, that was pretty cool. So, but for instance, last weekend we had over 50 kids here, underclassmen, and most of them New England kids, and it was awesome. We had some Jersey, we had some different areas there, but it was really cool to get everyone up from those areas. And I think, getting out and creating those relationships is what I've been focusing on the most. I haven't seen some of those coaches in a while, and it was fun to kind of take a path of leaving Maine and going to do different things in Minnesota and Rutgers and then being back. It was great to see those guys. So I think they'll all be important, but certainly I think one of the biggest things is getting to campus is the most important thing to me in recruiting, being able to get them here, whether that's driving, whether that's flying. And I think that's where we're going to target our areas to make sure that you can recruit a kid all you want, but if he doesn't see it and doesn't have the means to see it on his own, that's where you kind of struggle.
Kids read and see records and all that. What's been the response for you and your staff on the road, talking to kids and talking to kids here? Is the level of excitement changed at all, do you think? Or have they been wary because of what had gone on in the past?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been preaching that the people are the biggest difference, certainly, because the building's the same, the rooms are the same, the locker room will be the same. Field the same. So we've been focusing on kind of those relationships. The human interaction is something that we're focusing on. And I think the feedback that we've gotten from people visiting is that just the energy, the new vibe, and with anything that changes, there's always going to be that. But we've focused on that, and I think we've done a good job. And certainly, everybody's worried about winning. Everybody is, but I said early on, that's the result, and we're going to focus on the process because that's going to be how we're going to get to that. So it's been awesome. It's been fun. I'm actually going to be glad when recruiting's over in a week so I can get around the team. Like just having these mid-year guys here starting on Tuesday, it's just great to get around them today because I've been on the road. So just seeing the energy, and there's definitely a new vibe, but that's like anything. It's going to be about when it hits end of February, middle of March, when you're in those dark days, how are we going to do? And that's what I'm really looking forward to.
Basically, offensively, what are you going to do offensively and defensively, or is that going to depend more on what you see out of your guys in the spring?
Yeah, I think defensively, certainly where my background is, it's not going to be a secret probably about what we're going to do there. And then offensively, certainly with what I've gone against with Coach Jake and what he's done. But you did hit it right. We got to see what we have. We're not going to try and do the old square peg in a round hole. We got to see what we have, and that's why I think this spring is going to be huge. As all new, I've never worked with these coaches. Some of them I have, but all together, never. So the 2025, the UMass team is going to find out quickly what we're all about. So we're going to have to figure that out. But I think in order to do that, there's going to be some hard times, and I'm excited about that because that's usually how you get better.
Have you talked to Liam?
I haven't talked to him about what's going on. I talked to him about a little while ago. Certainly, whatever goes down. Liam's a great dude. He deserves every opportunity. And listen, I think that's one of the things that I've been also preaching. That main staff has the defensive coordinator at the University of Miami. And Corey Heatherman, Liam, whatever he ends up doing. And there's a lot of. Jared Kite is here. Nick Charlton's in the NFL. So that staff was pretty special. And like I said, those 3 guys that played on that team are here. So there's a lot of, when you do things well, it's good for everybody. So I'm excited for all those guys, and I couldn't be happier for them.
You talked about working with this staff for the first time, but how much confidence does that give you when you look at what you did before putting together a staff in terms of what you put together here?
Yeah, certainly.
gives me a lot of confidence. And I think doing that at Maine, putting together all of those people, and listen, there were mistakes. I made mistakes as a 29-year-old, being a head coach for the first time, and you learn and you fix it. And that's why 2018 happened, because we had a group of people that didn't care about what their job was. We sacrificed for each other. There was no job too small. We put everybody else first, and that team just played harder than everybody. They were talented. There's talented kids, but we weren't going to back down to anybody. And that's what we grew in recruiting and the type of person we recruited. And that's what we're going to do here. But having that staff together, putting together our staff, I think the most important thing is it's not always about the best coach. It's the best people that fit what you want to do. And that's why this process over the last month and a half has really been something that we've taken our time on. And then certainly being at Minnesota and Rutgers and being able to not be the head coach, but to take a step back and learn again as an assistant. You know, how do you be the best assistant? You do whatever the head coach needs you to do. You're aligned with the head coach. And that's taught me even more. And then being helped in the process of hiring defensive coaches at those two spots, you know, whether it's as a co-coordinator or a coordinator at Rutgers, I mean, it goes a long way. Because I think you see good and bad, and what doesn't work and what does work. And I think with the new staff, that's what I'm most excited about here, is everybody is going to want to work with each other, and it's going to be about the team, and everybody's going to want to win. And egos get in the way all the time. We all have them. Everyone in this room has them. And it's about how do you just get rid of that and push forward as a team. And I think that's what I'm the most proud of so far, and that's the most feedback I'm getting from everybody that we visit in recruiting or have people here on campus, is just the amount of compliments on the people, because we're going to be responsible for creating this environment. Everyone's a byproduct of their environment, and everyone's a byproduct of what they believe in. So to a certain extent, the environment you create and what you tell them to believe in, that's what will be your product. So that's what I'm going to look forward to the most about getting down and grinding that out, to be honest with you. I just want to get to a workout. I just want to coach ball. I can't really be an X and O guy too much anymore. I'm the head coach, but we got a bunch of guys that love ball. And at the end of the day, we play football, and that's what we got to do. So I'm looking forward to that.
How successful were you in the portal? You know, obviously you have numbers, but were they all your targets, or did you do better than you thought, or maybe, you know, wish you had done a little better?
No, I think we hit at a very, very high clip in terms of percentage visit versus percentage committed and now signed. But I think what was great is, again, I don't believe everybody that visits your school should go here. I think that's part of the process, right? To evaluate everything, evaluate who you're around, evaluate how they interact with the coaches. Again, it's got to be a privilege to play for UMass. It's not just, we just don't throw these things out everywhere. And that's what we've really focused on. And so I'm very happy right now. I'll let you know in about, 3 months how we're feeling. Right now I feel pretty good about what we were able to do and what we were able to accomplish. And that goes to a credit to the staff. Like, a lot of these guys, myself included, we haven't seen our families. I mean, there's families all spread out across the country right now that, it's a bunch of guys over here just coaching ball and recruiting, which is, don't get me wrong, it's not the worst job, that you can have. But also getting back and being able to see your family is important for a lot of these guys. They're coming a long way, so that'll be good to do here after the dead period gets into effect.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks guys, appreciate it.